was basically just one exchange of dialogue that completely made this episode work. Don't worry, I didn't change reality. That's actually how it is. Black Mirror, Bête Noire. Like, I'm tempted to say this is an odd one. It's Black Mirror. They're all odd ones. And in case anyone was curious, that was me messing around with a little Star Trek thing. The click is just because it's magnetic in the back. Did anyone care? Am I stalling because it's hard to know how to talk about this? No, they didn't. And yes, I am. So, stylistically, there's a very interesting choice that is made with the organ that like comes in very early on, like with the Monday. Like it's so intense long before you have any real sense of anything going on. And part of me was like, why won't you just let it build naturally? Except that, I don't know, breaking her is kind of the point, and it's not necessarily meant to be a slow. Like it's even brought up by, oh God, why am I forgetting Verity. Yeah. I knew it started with a V. I got that going for me. It's not that much of a surprise that, Verity is messing with stuff. But like the thing is, like she says flat out that you broke early. This other friend that you had took me 5 weeks. You broke in days. So I feel like the organ sting right at the beginning is kind of an indication of how tightly wound Maria is. And just watching it escalate, but also like getting her frustration, and it starts so small, so subtle. And actually, I didn't catch it until thinking back on it, because like the first one that you really notice is the name of the chicken place, the Barney's to Bernie's thing. Like that one, attention is drawn to. What you miss is the spelling of the gelatin substitute or the seaweed-based gelatin. It was like carabina, whatever it was. Maria spells it with one R, but the little squiggle comes up saying, no, that's not spelled right. So she spells it with 2 R's, because that's how Verity thought it was spelled when they were going back and forth and trying to spell the thing out. That's so subtle. I love that. But I think really kind of emphasizing this feeling of Maria, like that reality was gaslighting her. And like knowing in some way that it pivoted on Verity, but not knowing that she was necessarily responsible for it. Like it was hard to know, because initially it was dealing with stuff that a lot of us wouldn't know. Like maybe that's a real gelatin and maybe some people know how to spell it. Okay. I think the chicken place was made up. So that's something that you're like, okay, like, is her memory falling apart? But then as it goes and you start to realize, no, reality is literally reshaping, and in extreme ways, especially when we get to the nut allergy thing. Natology? What's natology? And I said at the beginning, there's basically one exchange that makes this whole thing work. It's when Maria confronts Verity. And, like, she says to her, like, you could just... Well, actually, first of all, back up. I love that the first thing that Maria finds is a server farm in there. That immediately is like, okay, it's like, that's cool, and that's, like, unsettling in the most low-key kind of way for a tech-based kind of thriller horror anthology like this. It's just like, look at all the tech she's running. What is it doing? We don't know yet, but it's doing something. And I do kind of like the logistic explanation that, like, oh, like, there's infinite parallel universes. I'm just, I wasn't totally clear on whether she was jumping the two of them between realities or just incorporating aspects of other realities into this one, but the idea that like everything is true somewhere and I'm just blending the realities as opposed to literally changing this one. we'll just head on over to the rally where this is the case. The one that really got me was like, we're having this confrontation in the office. For some reason, that one like hit me way harder than like, your shirt's a different color, you speak Chinese. But like when she did, we're having this confrontation in the office, it was just, oh my God. Okay. But the one exchange that sold this whole thing to me was when Maria's like, why are you focusing on this? Like the people who started a rumor about you in freaking high school. You could do anything. You could be Empress of the Universe. And Verity's saying, yeah, I did that. That was the first thing I did. I've done everything. But I still feel hollow. And it still hurts. And I love that for a couple of reasons. Because first of all, accomplishment does not erase trauma. New experiences do not erase old pain. They can sometimes make it easier, at least for a time, to not focus on old pain, but they don't make it go away. And if you're not properly confronting that, and obviously Verity is not confronting that in a healthy way, demonstrably so, but if you're not confronting that, then yeah, it's still there and it's still shaping you. But why I really like it is because it's very common in a lot of media to depict obsession just like as this is going to sound weird, but bear with me, to paint obsession in very stark terms and just use it as a blanket explanation. Oh, well, they're obsessed with this. But a lot of things don't take the time to sell it. They just kind of say it and assume that that's enough. We're early into it and we'll see how it pans out, but I'm paranoid about that ending up being the case with Abby, with The Last of Us season 2 that's currently airing. I don't know if it will be, but I'm paranoid about that. But a lot of time, the obsession over something small or whatever is just kind of taken as read. And I think in a lot of cases it's lazy. You latch onto this idea that they're obsessed with this person or this trauma or whatever. You just say that and maybe imply that they're not, that, they've got some other things that aren't quite balanced. And then you just, and that explains it. That feels unearned. It feels cheap in a lot of cases. For contrast, Christopher Nolan's actually real good at depicting obsession. I would say it's been the through line for the vast majority of his films. Memento's about obsession. Following's about obsession. The way he approached Batman was about obsession. The Prestige is so about obsession. It's absurd. But this also just that little thing of it's not like she discovered this way of manipulating realities or jumping realities or whatever it is she's doing, and then immediately was like, ooh, revenge on high school, bullies. No, of course that wasn't the first thing she did. That wasn't the reason she had this built. But it was the thing that she couldn't let go of. The thing that kept nagging her at the back of her mind. The thing that she couldn't escape. The hole she couldn't fill. And so eventually, after going and doing everything she could think of to fulfill herself and still feeling empty, that's what she turned to. And I'd be willing to bet that even if she'd gotten the revenge she wanted, she still would have felt empty. There's probably a little bit more than just that one single incident going on there. But that's what she's focused on because it's what she has left to try. Nothing else she's tried worked. And that sells the level of what she's doing. That sells the obsession. That sells the vengeance over something so petty. It's hard. It is real hard to sell. And it's really impressive to sell it with such a short and simple exchange. That conversation basically made the whole episode for me. That's where I was like, ooh, I get it. That, yes. Also, small visual touch. When Maria first breaks in and she's in the server farm and she's sneaking up, great use of a wide angle lens. If you're focusing directly on Maria, because she's usually center of the frame, you may not notice. But if you look at the outer edges of the frame, everything's kind of bent outwards, a little bit concave on the edges. Good use of a wide angle to make it seem wrong and off-putting. It's that was nice. That was nice. I liked that. And also, you know, I strongly suspect Maria's going to go through a very similar arc to Verity. Because, yeah, sure, you're Empress of the Universe. So what? But I think that was also a decent note to end on. I think it made sense. So yeah, for the most part, I did like this. It's definitely not as poignant as Common People was, but it's good, and I enjoyed this a fair bit. Just watching things kind of pull apart and be like, okay, what is going on? Then figuring out what's going on, going, oh, okay, and then getting that exchange between the two of them and going, oh, nice. This is good. I don't have nearly as much to say about it, but it's good. Bête Noire. What'd you think of this one? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills and enables me to do this as my living. And, I'm going to say this because otherwise a bunch of people are going to put it in the comments. Technically, I know I brought up the spelling, but the very first thing that Verity does is convince everybody that the candy bar was actually good. That was the very first thing. So if you correct me, you didn't finish the video. But as long as you're not going to do that, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills. It enables me to do this as my living. I might have said that part already. I can't remember. But, like, share, subscribe. Those all help. What I really want you to remember, though, is just to take it easy. All right? We take a relaxed attitude around here. We don't get obsessed. So just come on back next time you need a break. And now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Goddess Elida, Zubin Lopfula, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Oliver B., Melissa Pedersen, Movie Turtle, Melinda Walters, Auntie Kate 808, Andre, Becky Sparks, Claire Wright, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, Quite Bearish, Rosalind Bennett, Toku Blahuvian, Adam RDL Taylor, Pal Barabajoggle, Mary Mello, Mira G, Sir Didymus is my favorite. I've never screwed that one up before. Well, if you want to hear me mess up your name, check out the rewards on the Patreon. I'm going to blame you.